Vážený pán podpredseda vlády, excelencie, milí hostia, dámy, páni. Je mi cťou otvoriť dnešnú konferenciu Inovácie, budúcnosť Slovenska. V prvom rade mi dovolte, aby som poďakoval pánovi podpredsedovi vlády, pánovi Lajčákovi, ďalším predstaviteľom Ministerstva zahraničných vecí a európskych záležitostí, ale hlavne pánovi Burianovi, štátnemu tajomníkovi Ministerstva zahraničných vecí a európskych záležitostí, za to, že prizvali Americkú obchodnú komoru v Slovenskej republike, aby sme spoločne zorganizovali túto dôležitú konferenciu. Táto naša spolupráca sa viaže k rokom 2009-2010, keď Americká obchodná komora v spolupráci s ministerstvom školstva a vtedajším pánom ministrom, pánom Mikolajom, zorganizovali návštevu predstaviteľov podnikateľskej komunity a predstaviteľov našej komory v Spojených štátoch, vrátane Silicon Valley, a o rok neskôr, v roku 2010, sme nadviazali na túto návštevu Spojených štátov s organizovaním spolu s Ministerstvom zahraničných vecí, s organizovaním konferencie na tému inovácie a transfer technológií. Už vtedy, v roku 2010, nás poctil svojou účasťou na našej konferencii profesor Charles Wessner z Národnej akadémie vied Spojených štátov. A ja som veľmi rád, že profesor Wessner môže byť dnes s nami, prijal naše pozvanie a zároveň mi dovolte, aby som aj jemu poďakoval za pomoc pri príprave tejto konferencie. Vďaka profesorovi Wessnerovi sú tu dnes s nami aj ďalší významní hostia zo Spojených štátov, ktorých srdečne vítam. Pán J. Lee z Národného inštitútu pre výskum rakoviny, Charles Holland z Úradu pre globálny námorný výskum, ako aj úspešný podnikateľ v oblasti biomedicíny, pán Peter Kuhn. Poďakovať by som chcel tiež Tajpejskému zastupiteľskému úradu na Slovensku a osobne pánovi Lee za ich angažovanie pri príprave tejto konferencie. Sme nesmierne radi a poctení, že dnešnej konferencie sa môže zúčastniť aj pán Šiu, prezident ITRI. Zároveň by som z tohto miesta rád poďakoval aj sponzorom dnešnej konferencie, spoločnostiam Dell a Amgen, vďaka ktorým sa nám túto konferenciu podarilo zorganizovať. Veríme, že vďaka zahraničným hosťom, vďaka angažovanosti podnikateľskej sféry a k spolupráci s akademickou obcou, s výskumníkmi a mladými začínajúcimi podnikateľmi sa nám podarí obnoviť, reštartovať, rozvinúť myšlienky konferencie z roku 2010. Zámerom tej dnešnej konferencie bude nielen iniciovať diskusiu o potenciáli Slovenska ako destinácii pre vedu a výskum a otvoriť, čo môže podnikateľská komunita v spolupráci s akademickou obcou a vládou urobiť pre urýchlenie transformácie Slovenska na vedomostnú ekonomiku. Hlavne a pevne verím, že dnešná konferencia bude viesť ku konkrétnym krokom a akčným bodom, ktoré by mali byť vykonané v nasledujúcich mesiacoch, aby sme zmenu, o ktorej dnes budeme hovoriť a o ktorej dnes budeme diskutovať, začali aj konkrétne vykonávať. Za dôležitý aspekt tejto konferencie považujeme aj diskusiu, ktorá prebehne medzi predstaviteľmi vlády, zahraničnými hostiami a začínajúcimi podnikateľmi, startup komunitou. Predpokladám, že ste neprehliadli pri vstupe do tejto budovy inštaláciu, ktorá je na prízemí a kde práve tí najlepší začínajúci podnikatelia prezentujú svoje nápady, inovatívne produkty a aplikácie. Chcel by som vás všetkých vyzvať, aby ste si našli čas a využili aj túto platformu na vzájomnú komunikáciu a diskusiu. V dnešnej dobe, kedy sa svet a Európa spamätáva z krízy, sa aktívna podpora inováciám a transferu vedomostí a technológií stáva dôležitejšia ako kedykoľvek predtým. Americká obchodná komora v Slovenskej republike je samozrejme pripravená vďaka skúsenostiam svojich členských spoločností aktívne prispieť do týchto diskusí a podieľať sa tak na zvyšovaní konkurencieschopnosti Slovenska a zlepšovaní podnikateľského prostredia. To, Toľko na úvod z mojej strany. Dovolte mi, aby som teraz odovzdal slovo a požiadal o úvodný príhovor pána predsedu vlády, pána podpredsedu vlády a ministra zahraničných vecí a európskych záležitostí pána Miroslava Lajčáka. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome the Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and European Affairs, Miroslav Lajčák, and ask him for his welcome speech. Pán minister, nech sa páči.
Nie je dobré takto vystrašiť človeka hneď z rána. Dámy a páni, veľmi srdečne vás vítam na pôde Ministerstva zahraničných vecí, európskych záležitostí. Ak dovolíte, vzhľadom na veľký počet zahraničných hostí, prednesem moje vystúpenie v angličtine. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, it's indeed a great pleasure to meet you here at the Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs at a conference which is prepared jointly by our ministry and by the American Chamber of Commerce. The present meeting, as we heard, is a follow-up of the conference organized in April 2010 entitled Innovation Policy and Technology Transfer, the outcomes of which have been successfully brought into practice, for example, by SARIO, carrying out the program of expanding innovative ideas from Slovakia to other countries, supporting startup innovative companies, and plug-and-play programs. The Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs has organized several innovation conferences and fora since 2010. For example, a very successful Slovak Nordic Innovation Conference in Bratislava, Slovak Swiss Innovation Fora in Switzerland, Slovak Danish Business and Innovation Conference in Denmark, Slovak Dutch Business and Innovation Forums in Netherlands, and several Slovak Turkish innovation conferences, all of them providing opportunities to support cooperation in the sector of innovation, science, and transfer of technology. The agreement signed between the Turkish Research Center TÜBİTAK and the Slovak Academy of Science can be mentioned as one of the examples of successful cooperation in the field of innovations. In recent years, in the light of the complicated economic and financial situation in the world, our ministry has redirected its focus to areas which used to be partly out of our viewfinder. As I mentioned on several occasions, we fully realize that times of classical foreign policy are over. Every modern diplomacy has to take economic diplomacy fully on board. This has been reflected also in strengthening the competencies of the Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs. What I have in mind are areas such as export, investments, energy, research and development, innovations, and new technologies. I am certainly not the first to coin the terms as energy diplomacy, economic diplomacy, and innovation diplomacy. All these areas depend on international cooperation and exchange, especially with our close partners and allies. The role of the Slovak Foreign Service is to facilitate such international partnerships, evaluate them from foreign policy point of view, and identify the prospective areas of international cooperation, which is certainly also one of the goals of this conference. As the title of the conference indicates, innovation is an imperative for our future. If Slovakia wants to be a prosperous country and a relevant partner, and this is certainly what we want, it has to develop competitive and knowledge-based economy. On the one hand, we can certainly be proud that we made it from 50% to 75% of the average EU GDP in less than 10 years. That after Slovenia, we were the second post-communist economy to fulfill the Maastricht criteria and became members of the Eurozone. That even in times of crisis, we still have moderate but stable economic growth. And that our government debt with 52% is much below the Eurozone average with 90% or the EU27 average, which is 85%. Yet, on the other hand, there is no reason for complacency. First, we are still 25% below the EU GDP per capita average. Second, being a member of Eurozone, the stabilization of the euro area means the stabilization of our own economy and currency. and thus our call for responsibility and solidarity. Our unemployment is among the highest in the European Union, let alone youth unemployment, with 1 out of every 3 young people unemployed. And we have a highly export-oriented economy, thus we are very exposed to external developments. Some of these points closely intersect with the topic of today's conference. High youth unemployment in Slovakia is interconnected with the gap between formal education and the needs of the labor market. Our well-developed education system produces a lot of well-educated graduates who unfortunately simply don't match the needs of the labor market. Better link between education and economy is a must. The Asian tigers, such as Japan, Singapore, Korea, Taiwan, and others, that have based their economies on education, innovation, and new technologies, can serve us as a good example. Similarly, though we have one of the highest economic growth in the European Union, we don't want to remain the assembly line of Europe. Our ambition is to create our GDP by our intellect rather than by our hands. That's one of the reasons why our government has devoted 1 out of 7 chapters of its manifesto to the knowledge-based society and education. I already mentioned our strong export orientation. We fully understand the value of innovations in the current world. This is not just of symbolic, but also very tangible value. Innovations have become goods themselves, and quite lucrative ones. We wish to become a country that not only attracts investments, innovations, and new technologies, but also a country that's able to export them. Innovations and research and development require attractive business and investment-friendly environment. And I can assure you that the Slovak government is determined to develop this approach further. It's in our interest to have competitive jobs and R&D intensive businesses. The newly established support for export, investments, science, technology and innovations through the Slovak Government Councils for the Promotion of Export and Investments and the Government Council for Science, Technology and Innovations reflects our determination to institutionalize our dialogue and interaction with the business sector. In the same way, the Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs has created an office of the ambassador with special assignments in science and innovations. Last but not least, with the aim of supporting investments in our country, the government of the Slovak Republic established also a new post of Vice Prime Minister for Investments. Slovakia has a great innovation and R&D potential, based, as already mentioned, primarily on its skilled and highly educated labor force. This can be enhanced by effective cooperation with our international partners. I'm greatly pleased to see at this conference the representatives of internationally renowned institutions. A large number of foreign and multinational companies, leaders in innovation and R&D, made investments in Slovakia. I'm glad that they are committed to the idea of building high-quality innovation and R&D environment in my country. For instance, through their cooperation with Slovak universities. And we should not forget to mention the outstanding examples of Slovak innovative companies such as ESET, as well as successful projects, for instance the Košice IT Valley, the Central European Institute of Technology, and many more. We have to build on these successful stories and create new ones. Our universities are pillars of our innovation and R&D potential. The international cooperation, exchange programs, and partnership with private sector are the basis for high quality and market relevant education. Slovak Foreign Service is ready to facilitate also these contacts. Slovakia has to build the priorities on its existing strength. The intelligent specialization strategy, now under preparation, sets the priorities in the area of innovations and its objectives, with biomedicine and IT sector playing indispensable roles. In this respect, I'd like to point out a specific IT area, namely cybersecurity, which deserves our attention not only as a business opportunity and a potential niche area of the Slovak IT sector, but also a matter of the national security and the security of our allies and partners. Ladies and gentlemen, as everything, also education, science, research and development depend on available resources. However, it is not so dependent on objective preconditions such as natural resource, geographical location, size of the country, etc. In this sense, in the area of innovation, we are quite equal. Here comes the responsibility of governments, their ability to understand modern trends and react to them adequately, to channel the resources, both human and financial, in the right direction. I believe Slovakia has it all to succeed in coping with innovation challenges. However, this requires commitment from all of us, the private and public stakeholders, assigning the necessary resources, developing the right policies and best practices, and above all, building partnerships, for example, by organizing conferences just like the one we are attending here today. We do realize the importance of maintaining the competitiveness of our economy, providing for and increasing employment opportunities, also by means of innovations, acquiring advanced technologies, developing knowledge-based economy, with the cooperation and assistance of all the actors concerned. I hope that the present conference and its initiatives and incentives will greatly contribute to a better innovation milieu in Slovakia. I wish you good and thought-provoking discussion and a successful conference. And to all our guests, I wish a pleasant stay in Bratislava. I thank you for your attention. Ďakujem pekne.
Dear Deputy Prime Minister, thank you for your kind words. And you know, the themes you mentioned during your speech will be, I'm sure, will be inspiring for the discussion today. We, as you suggested, and as I suggested earlier, we have many good speakers, solid speakers from the field with real experiences in the field of innovation, research, and development. We had a meeting prior to this conference last night, and the themes you mentioned during your speech, I think these are the key themes that we all are aware of and will be talking about today. Shift to value, higher value-added economy, knowledge economy, role of government and support of government of the whole process, the process of innovation, the process of research and science and academy. The allocation of human and financial resources. And last but not least, the cooperation of the government and business in supporting this important initiative. So again, I hope I can assure you that today's conference will be an inspiring one, that we'll be able to take some action steps following the conference, introduce it to the government. Thank you for your support. Thank you for providing this facility and energy to us. And I hope this will be a great day, and it will be a day that we will remember in the whole process. Thank you again. Vážené dámy a páni, excelencie, dovolte mi, aby som teraz pozval na pódium jeho excelenciu pána veľvyslanca Spojených štátov Theodora Sedgwicka a predstaviteľa tajpejského zastupiteľstva pána Lee. Zároveň dovolte, aby som pána Sedgwicka a pána Lee požiadal o ich príhovory. Ďakujem. Gentlemen, thank you for coming today, and I would like to ask you to address this conference with your speeches. Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Sedgwick.
Igor, thank you very much, Dobrý den, dámy a páni. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the American Chamber of Commerce, on behalf of the United States Embassy, along with Mr. Koopman, I want to welcome you to this very important conference. And I also want to welcome our keynote speakers, Dr. Charles Wessner and Dr. Jerry Lee, here to Slovakia. The U.S. Embassy is very pleased and proud to participate in this conference, since the United States has long been a worldwide leader in innovation. Innovation energizes our economy and is the key driver of competitiveness, wage and job growth. As Bill Gates, a great American innovator, has noted, never before in history has innovation offered the promise of so much to so many in such a short period of time, which sounds almost Churchillian, but it's a very good statement. The United States Chamber of Commerce report on innovation in America cites three pillars as key to enhancing innovation. Number one, support for basic research. Two, education. I'm very pleased to see State Secretary Hudaba joining us here today. And three, infrastructure to support this innovation environment. And I think all of these three topics will be discussed in today's conference. I look forward to a lively debate. I had just a couple of other very brief observations. Number one, Bratislava in Slovakia already is now a very important IT hub. I think we in the room understand this. I don't think people outside Slovakia understand it. When you hear about IT hubs, you hear about Silicon Valley, you hear about Tel Aviv, London, Berlin, but I think that we ought to discuss in this room ways that we can create a buzz around Bratislava, around Slovakia, that will give it an international reputation that it deserves because of the assets that are already here. As I say, I can't think of a major American IT company that's not very active in a major way, not just a small office, but hundreds and thousands of people here in Bratislava. Secondly, I agree with the sentiments in last night's dinner that we don't want this just to be simply a conference where people have a nice time and agree with each other and then go away and nothing happens. I'm very pleased that we have two American officials here, Dr. Jerry Lee and Dr. Charles Holland, who represent American agencies that actually have money and are looking in an era of very scarce resources and are looking for international partners. So I hope something tangible comes of this. Dr. Jerry Lee in the case of health research, and Dr. Charles Holland is with the Office of Naval Research and is looking for partners in the area of defense cooperation. I agree with Minister Lajčák's earlier comment that cybersecurity is a very promising area for both Slovakia working with the United States and other countries. So we at the U.S. Embassy stand ready to work with our partners to advance this agenda of innovation. We already do in many ways. We support the Women's Entrepreneurship Program. We're very happy to work together with the American Chamber of Commerce on the mentoring programs. And we're very happy to also support the Startup Awards, which have been a great impetus here in Slovakia. So I wish you a fruitful and thought-provoking discussion today. Thank you very much.
Ambassador Sedgwick, Excellencies, State Secretaries, MP, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Dobre ráno. It's a great honor for me to attend today's international conference on innovation. I'm thrilled, really thrilled, to see the scientists, experts, and representatives of companies and ambassadors here to share ideas, experiences, and discuss possible cooperation projects, which I believe will benefit all participants. Well, coming here this morning, I found my mind filled with both memories of the past and today's conference. I remember when I arrived here in 2010, I was overwhelmed with the projects to attract investors from Taiwan over here, and also to support science and technology cooperations between our two countries. Today, I'm happy to report that with joint efforts from Slovakia government, Taiwan has invested over 275 million euro here in Slovakia. And as for the science and technology cooperation, we've done quite a few research projects with Slovakia Academy of Science and Universities. Our experts on e-government have visited here this spring to share their knowledge and provide a full range of assistance to Slovakia government administration. Today's conference provides a wonderful platform of initiating a serious discussion on Slovakia's enhancement of R&D and its potentials of international collaboration. By introducing the innovation model from Taiwan, we hope to provide Slovakia not just with experiences, but also with a great deal of inspiration. I fully agree with the Deputy Prime Minister just mentioned. After the Cold War, the New World Order, economic diplomacy, cooperation became more important, not just to Slovakia, to the United States, Taiwan too. We're trying to make friends with our allies, our friendly countries, like-minded countries. We can help each other coexist, co-prosper together. So Taiwan has extensive experience in building up its own model of industrial development, becoming one of the successful innovators. The Industrial Technology Research Institute, ITRI, has played a significant role in transforming technology and in providing assistance to potential startup companies through its incubation center. I believe these are the areas worth being noticed in today's discussion. And I also know that ITRI has run a number of cooperation projects with several European countries. I hope today's meeting will result in many successful joint projects in Slovakia too. And I see the president of ITRI nodding his head, right? Okay, as I come to this hall this morning, I was approached by the startup companies. I really feel, I'm really moved by them. You know, I can see the energy. They are trying to reach out. So I would like to share a startup story with you all. 30-some years ago, a guy named Stanley Shi returned from Bell Lab in the US back to Taiwan. Just a researcher, a scientist. Now, he's the founder of Acer Computer. It's number one, number two. He's competing with HP in the world. At that time, I remember I just joined a government. I was with foreign visitors to interview him. It's just a small startup company with support alone from the government. And also, the government provided him a piece of space in the science-based park. Nobody imagined that Acer can grow this big. So my advice and recommendations to the startup companies: keep the momentum. Your ideas, don't be afraid of failure. And what important is the mind, the software, not hardware. Okay, with the right government support and your own insistence, dedications, I think one day you will be another Stanley Shi. And in closing, I would like to extend my deepest appreciation to Mr. Xu President of E3, who came all the way from Taiwan to join us. I wish you all good health, and today's conference a great success. And I also bring my Director of Econ Division, Mr. Andrew Lin here. So the startup companies try to grab the opportunity to talk with him. Anything we can do to assist you, please talk with us. Our door always open to our Slovakia friends and companies. Thank you all. Ďakujem.